Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And today's Doctor Who review is none other than Once and Future Coda, the final act. So, what is the final act about? Well, essentially, the Doctor and the War Doctor are in a little bit of a gambit. It turns out that the Fugitive Doctor has been sent to hunt down the War Doctor, but she doesn't realise she's hunting down her own future. Now, at present, she goes to track him down, and of course, the War Doctor decides to take a little bit out of his own book and displace Elizabeth I out of history. Now, the War Doctor is currently dealing with the effects of the degeneration that has been affecting all of the Doctors, all except for the Fugitive Doctor. Now, of course, the Fugitive Doctor, not knowing this, just gets really agitated and finds herself bumping into Bernie Summerfield. Now, the War Doctor knows exactly who Bernie Summerfield is, but the Fugitive Doctor doesn't have a clue. Benny begins ranting onto the Fugitive Doctor about what good friends they'll be in the future, and the Fugitive Doctor gets a bit distracted by the ongoing bombardment war that she's currently having with the War Doctor. Eventually, their little conflict begins to hit a stalemate when she realises that she has been betrayed by the Vord. The Vord are a species that were first seen in a Doctor Who episode years ago called the Deadly Sea. In the Keys of Marinus, the Vord attempt to essentially take the key and essentially control all of Marinus. Luckily, the first Doctor manages to stop them. But in this story, the Fugitive Doctor finds himself in an alliance because of the fact that the division have a mutual understanding with the Vord. At least that's what the Fugitive Doctor believes until she's stabbed in the back. After being betrayed by the Vord, the Fugitive Doctor decides that it's time to let the War Doctor go. And so they both go on their separate paths, and the Fugitive Doctor eventually manages to get Elizabeth I back to her own time. The madness of this whole story is the fact that Elizabeth I and Sir Francis Drake managed to have a bunch of giant flying sail ships, which really breaks the laws of time itself. However, at the end of the story, this is all resolved and hushed under the carpet, as Elizabeth knows this with her own heart of what's going on, but she won't ever admit to it to anyone else. Bernie then goes back off to her own life and finds herself in a position in which she's very confused why the Fugitive Doctor doesn't know who she is, but then soon begins to get an idea that maybe it's a timey-wimey business and she has met a doctor before the doctor she met. So what do I give Once and Future Coda, the final act, out of 10? It's a very decent story, but it's a little bit all over the place, and there are some moments in which, even though we get a really beautiful argument between the War Doctor and the Fugitive Doctor, we kind of feel a little bit out of the loop, and sadly for that reason I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, you beautiful people.